everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from GenZ Marketing Agency, welcoming you to enjoy our live webinar today. As usual, we have a very special guest to introduce, and we're going to be talking a lot on how to grow the local economy and contribute significantly, because you know that we are in the south coast of England, and there is a huge growing economy here, and we wanted to talk about that as well. And we have very specific guest, and I will add him to the stage in a minute. But before I add him to the stage, I thank you again for you being supporting for a long time. And as well as if you wanted to ask us any question, feel free to ask us through the comment box. And we will continue this conversation an hour. So we will time to time try to ask you questions if that is relevant to us. And please ask us relevant questions, because it's better for us, because if you don't ask irrelevant questions that is not relevant to us, we cannot answer. So thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. And we have Travis Cooper from the White Link. Hello, Travis. Thank you very much for joining today's live webinar.
Hi, Dr. Shah. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much, because we were talking, we had another before last week, we had an event, and we did that event on our Neurodivergent Business Consortium channel. And you know that I run that channel every Tuesday. We go for live webinar, and we support people with neurodiversity, disabled people, and all other less able people that they need support with. So this channel is dedicated to time research and innovation, and as well as GenZ marketing. So I will not go deep into that. I will wanted to discuss it bit more detailed with Travis. That you know that White Link, as we discussed this previously as well, but that was a different audience. White Link is a massive corporation. So in relation with that, can you tell our audience a bit more actually what you do and what is your main operation, please?
Yeah, of course. So we are a ferry operator that operates ferries, vehicle ferries, ro-ro ferries, and foot passenger ferries to and from the Isle of Wight. So not only are we a travel and tourism business, we're also a lifeline service to the island. So we take a lot of essential freight to and from the island as well. So there's a lot of food that goes over, medicines, goods for manufacturing, materials. So there's a whole host of things, as well as people that are going over to enjoy the Isle of Wight for holiday, and then transversely coming off the island. There's a lot of export from the island, and a lot of people that work on the mainland that live on the island. So we transport those as well.
Travis, it's been a pleasure to know you, and to the audience, we normally collaborate and contribute locally, because Travis engaged with a lot of local organization to contribute as well as promote them and support them. So thank you very much for your openness to the community. So in relation with the White Link, you know that businesses is flourishing in the southeast of England, and the quality of life is greater than the other parts of England. So what are the effective methods to provide local businesses to improve the community or community activities? Because you've been engaged with many activities so far, as I know, and we joined sometimes together. So what are some effective methods to promote local businesses within a community? If you could answer.
Well, yeah, I think the first thing is local networking events. We attend a lot of those. We've hosted one, and we hope to host another. We always look to the local community to try and do business where possible. We won awards for using local suppliers on the Isle of Wight for our retail offering. And in fact, we've got 72% of the produce in our retail outlets comes from Isle of Wight or Hampshire. So we try and keep it very, very local. We're big fans of that. We really are.
Yeah, that's a good point. That you do support local people as well as locally produced goods to from Isle of Wight to the mainland. Is there any barrier when you work with this organization for the community aspects or business aspects, or if you have barrier, how do you solve them?
Well, that's a good question, actually. I would say the biggest barrier, if a lot of people know the ferry operators, is a lot of people are put off by the fact that they've got to cross the water and they're concerned about price. So, what we do is we work with local businesses. And if you're looking to do business on the Isle of Wight or from the Isle of Wight to the mainland, then we offer a whole suite of business products, which means that the cost of getting to and from the Isle of Wight isn't prohibitive in any way. And it means we don't want that stretch of water to become a barrier to business. That's exactly what we don't want. So we're there to try and connect people and to promote both sides of the water to do business with each other, which is what we as a commercial department spend a lot of our time focusing on, just to make sure that we can offer those products that suit businesses and mean that they want to do business.
That's really fascinating the way you informed, because in this I live in Southampton and I see that big ferries on the shore, as well as the different type of ships, and their work is going on. My wife works at a still order company, so when as a visitor is coming, is flourishing their businesses. So she is very happy when someone is coming from the offshore, because I sold like this much, I sold like this much. So that's a good thing, isn't it? Because you are holding the economy and growing it to the different levels. So my next connecting question would be, yes, you have barriers as well as you solve those barriers. Are there any government initiatives to support your work, or you have to self-fund all of those activities?
Well, we don't really look for any kind of funding like that, as far as I'm aware. I mean, that take that just from my commercial department and my commercial knowledge. So the local government to grow and help support the local businesses is through a lot of networking. Councils know their areas and can bring companies together, as they often do, which is kind of how you and I met, really, was at one of the local councils networking events. So they're really good at that, and they can help by making us aware of funding opportunities, and of course makes policy decisions to buy local whenever they can. So it's really that they do a lot of connecting businesses. I mean, we've been connected through Portsmouth City Council. We hosted a Portsmouth City Council networking event on one of our ferries, which then connected and showed people actually that going across to the Isle of Wight isn't as, I would say, scary. It's never scary, but it's just some people think, well, it's so far away, or how do I do it? What are the mechanics? And a lot of people got off of that networking event and thought, actually, the Isle of Wight is somewhere that I could look as a potential customer base, which is exactly what we wanted to achieve.
I totally agree with you, because I was on that event and I enjoyed a lot, because Danielle, when she was asking me, Shah, can you introduce your people and can you tell you a story? And as a strategist myself, academics as well as marketer, I intend to like this and love this kind of events, because I can tell people who am I, and what is my capacity, and how do I help. So that events, the ups and downs, going to Isle of Wight and coming back from Isle of Wight, it was really fascinating. It was really fascinating, and seeing people, that is not only an experience that you get for lifetime, it's lots of business opportunities as well. I did not know that before. I did not have any clue. Yes, I've been to Isle of Wight 5-6 times, because I like and love the ferry journey. And I told you last event that I still remember my 1-year-old playing on the deck, and it was so safe, and the way it's still on my memory. So I intend to take friends, families. Okay, if you wanted to go, come over. I will go to Isle of Wight, because I want some excuse to go over there. So that's great. Now I'm doing businesses there. So thank you very much for a great for providing great experiences like me and other people's. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So my next connecting question would be, what role does Whitelink play in driving engagement and growth with local businesses?
So again, we look to source very locally. We look to buy off of local suppliers. 49% of the produce that we have is from the Isle of Wight. So just shy of 50% of the produce we have is actually from the beautiful Isle of Wight. As I said, 72% is from Isle of Wight and Hampshire, and 28 out of 37 of our suppliers are within a 30-mile radius of our ports. So we're very keen to engage, and I mean, we could name some like the Garlic Farm. A lot of people might know the Isle of Wight Distillery. People might not know the name of the Isle of Wight Distillery, but I'm sure everyone will recognise or maybe have in their house a beautiful bottle of Mermaid Gin or Mermaid Vodka. And it's linking and working with those businesses, working with Brailsford Farm, which is one of the few remaining dairy farms on the Isle of Wight that actually raise Jersey cows as well. So their milk is absolutely fantastic. So we look to buy off of these suppliers. Our sandwiches on board are from a local Isle of Wight based sandwich supplier that bake their own bread and make all their own produce. So we're very, very big in trying to keep it as local as possible, because at the end of the day, we are a part of that community, and where we can have a positive impact on it, we try to do that as often as possible.
Thank you, Jervis. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you today and to the audience. I hope you are enjoying today's live webinar, and please support us and support our work and support local businesses. As you know that we are in south of England, and we support local businesses, as well as we intend to bring people from the local businesses, either there is SMEs or big corporation like Whitelink. We always prioritize local businesses. So if you want if you have any question, feel free to ask us to the comment box. We're going to be talking more on developing local economy, and you know that every SMEs or every businesses in South Coast are creating positive impacts, and Whitelink is one of those companies that everyone should look into it, like, okay, how they are growing and how they are playing a vital role with the local economy. Because when you are a big corporation, you employ thousands of people, and that's also contribute to the local people, local economy, local businesses. So it's not like that one specific business is there and they are earning money. It's like one business is driving sales and growth to many other businesses. So that's the way it works, and that's why Isle of Wight is Whitelink is contributing so much to the to growing the local economy. We just have our first questions on the from the audience. I will share the questions a little bit later. I just wanted to ask you something in related to staff management, because you're a big corporations and you do have many individuals. So how do you ensure that your staff remains motivated and engaged within their work?
I think the one thing that's very, very important is you've got to have progression opportunities, which we do. We have a very engaged staff. A lot of our staff, we're one of the few companies. I've worked in quite a few companies in my time, and Whitelink is one of the companies that I work with. That there's a little bit of a joke in the firm that you say, "Oh, how long have you been with Whitelink?" And they say, "Oh, I started for a summer and I've been here for 24 years." So there's that real longevity and that long term of service, because it is a great place to work. It's different every day. There is opportunities, promotion opportunities, educational opportunities. We have some of our colleagues doing degree courses whilst they're also doing their jobs, so they can improve their skill set. And I think with that, and with the kind of community feel we've got, I know you said we're a big corporation. We usually swell in the summer to about 499 employees, ship and shore. So it's quite a tight knit company as well. So you do get to see the CEO. You do get to see the commercial director just walking through the port, and they engage and they talk and they find out what's going on and they take an interest, which I think is a massive plus for everyone else that's working in the company, because they feel that they're being spoken to, and more importantly, they're being heard.
That's quite fascinating, because I would love to work similar companies, because when we talk about employee, and when we talk about equal opportunities, that's time I just blink like, okay, there should need to be have equal opportunities, because as a disabled person myself, I do have disabilities. I'm neurodivergent, and with having a skin color, that I'm migrant here, but I established myself as a business person as well as in academia, achieving PhD and supporting local people and local businesses is amazing. But when we talk about equal opportunity and growth, I just wanted to ask you a related questions: that do you identify and develop future leaders within your organization? Because as I have experienced in many businesses, they don't have space for the people, or the odd people, I would say. Sometimes they say, okay, he's very odd, he's asking different questions, or something like that. But those odd peoples are the drivers sometimes. So do you have any plan or programs to create the future leaders within your company?
Yeah, we do. We have something that's called Bridging the Gap. Bridging the Gap took everybody that was in a leadership position to start with. So you started with top level, you start with masters, you started with mid to senior management levels, and they went through this process of bridging the gap to identify strengths and weaknesses and potential skill enhancement areas that we could do. And then that slowly filtered down throughout the business. Everybody's had an opportunity to go through this. And then what's come out of the back of it is some people have been put onto specific leadership courses, management courses. Some people have been given mentors. I myself had an external business mentor assigned to me, which I found helped immeasurably, and really kind of gives another perspective on the way you operate in your role. So we do identify them, and then we set up personal development plans. So we talk to those potential leaders and say, well, where do you want to go? What do you want to learn? What kind of leadership do you want to do? Because there's more than one type of leader. You don't necessarily have to have a big team of people. You could be a leader in your field. You could be a leader in your area. So it's just identifying where people want to be. And then when you start going down that path, that kind of backs up the question you asked me before, which is that then drives engagement and commitment and motivation from the staff as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand, I think.
I think, yes, that these are all interrelated fields and interrelated sections, because sometimes if you have a program that will motivate your future generation to be a leader, because we are human, and we have a shelf life. Everyone, everything in this world will have a shelf life, and we will die one day. But if you don't create the future leaders, then you cannot sustain, because a system in place now, it will go for maybe another 100 years or 200 years until some innovation or something comes up, like, okay, you don't need a ferry to go to Isle of Wight. You can just do like this, and you can be transported with a wire, that, okay, you are just with a wire or with something, you just go over there, finish. That's not, I think it will take time to come to that stage. But until then, we need these services to be sustained and to be grow in the next level. So we need to create specific programs to tailor this growth. So my next question, the related one, that yes, I understand that you have programs, you develop future leaders. How do you, evaluate these things? Because I think our audiences, they will eager to know that, okay, what type of process do you follow that they can embed in their growing culture, in their company?
Yeah, so we use a growing and development framework for some of the leaders, which is you set yourself objectives that are then agreed by a senior manager. So you look at those objectives and you put in, it's selected by the individual. So it's what they want to do. We try and focus around growth, business change, sustainability is another one. So we can then work towards those goals, and we put measures in place. So it's a bit like a SMART objective set up, really. And then with the other leaders that have come through Bridging the Gap, like I said, there's personal development plans. Again, it's speaking to those individuals. And I would say, I know it's a bit old business school, but SMART objectives work. They're great to have. They're great to put in place. So long as they're agreed by everyone, and you know where your measures are, and you know where your triggers are, so you can see how well you're doing, so it's not subjective, then I think that's the best way to do it.
That's quite fascinating, Travis. It is great pleasure to talk to you today and let our audiences know what you do, what you are capable of, and how you are contributing to the local economy. So thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. And we have Travis Cooper from the Whitelink. And as you know, that Whitelink is a ferry services. They operate it from different places in South Coast to Isle of Wight, and they are not only the ferry services, they do a lot of development work in the community, and we should be proud of that. We have these kind of companies in the South Coast to grow the economy, to support specific people, because if you are not in this area, you wouldn't know that how they are contributing to the local economy. So that's why my drive also comes from there, that okay, if they are doing a good work, why shouldn't I support them? Maybe a little bit of support it would be, but you know that we do live webinar, and there are a lot of customer and as well as connections we have, and they will enjoy this live webinar. They will think to go to Isle of Wight because for maybe a good experience they will get, as well as they will know about the economy, because today you probably know that the new government is here, so they don't want to increase taxes. So if they don't want to increase taxes, they have to drive the economy and grow the economy by selling goods and services from UK and growing this economy differently. Otherwise, we will be taxed, and we will have a lot of things to think about, and bills and a lot of other things. So we don't want to do that. So if we support local company like Whitelink and other local people, we can grow the economy without hesitating different things. So thank you, Travis, for joining this live events. And thank you to the audience. We're just getting some questions over there. I will go to the question a little bit later. I just wanted to ask you, as we are a marketing company, so we always cater and represent marketing tactics, as well as if we can learn something, company like you. You know, there are effective ways to do marketing, and there are strategies to do marketing. So can you tell our audiences that what are the most effective channels you use to reaching your target audience, and how much do you need to budget to reaching each target audience?
Well, for the budget thing, that would be with the marketing department. I'm not sure on their budget, to be honest, but we do we use Sky targeted advertising. We've just started a TV campaign. We've done one in the past, which I think was very successful. We use social media outlets. We use LinkedIn. We have a specialist team in our marketing department now, which focus on TikTok, and they're being very successful. Some people that are watching this webinar might remember the mock video of the Mercedes. There was a lady stroking parts of a Mercedes car, and she kept saying Mercedes. And our team went out and they did the same thing, but replaced it with touching different parts of the Whitelink ferry and saying Whitelink ferries. And that picked up traction on local news. It had over 1 million views. So that was very, very successful. And we also look at local radio advertising as well. There's a couple of local stations on the Isle of Wight, which we use. And we also advertise across the local radio stations on the South Coast as well, which we tend to find gets quite good traction as well.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you use quite a bit of a system and media to enrich your target audience and goals. So to the audience, if you wanted to contact Travis directly, feel free to contact him directly. If you wanted to ask him any question, feel free to, after this program, feel free to ask him any question you have. Or if you are watching this live webinar recorded later, if you wanted to ask any question, feel free to do that, because we are here to support you, and Whitelink is contributing greatly. And if you wanted to have any business opportunities, they are also supporting local businesses to work together with the Isle of Wight businesses. So can you elaborate a little bit of how you're supporting mainland businesses to work with the island businesses together, and what is your motivation to drive this growth?
Well, from my perspective in the commercial department, the more links I can make between the mainland and the island business, the more reason people have to travel. And if people want to travel, then they choose us as their preferred route to get to the Isle of Wight. So then that's where we benefit as a business. We benefit from that travel. So that's one of my main drivers. It's also, in the years I've worked for Whitelink, I personally have made a lot of connections on both sides of the water, and people just come up to you and ask you and say, look, can we do this? Can we do that? One of the most common ones is, I've just recently moved to the Isle of Wight. I've ordered a sofa, and they're telling me that the furthest I can get it delivered to is Gunwharf Quays. No one will take it over that stretch of water. So I pick up my phone, I ring some local businesses that I know that are based on the Isle of Wight and say, look, you might want to speak to this person or that person. And they specialize in the fact that they're not classed as mainland UK. And I can put them in touch. That generates business for the island company. They travel with us. The customer at the other end that's on the Isle of Wight is happy. My customer's happy. And it just kind of keeps the economy moving.
That's great example, because when you are the main drivers to grow the economy, the specific elements or puzzle pieces. So when I work with businesses, all the time I say that, okay, your business is a business canvas. You all know that, but on that business canvas, you have individual puzzle pieces. So if you wanted to make the business canvas very nice, very tidy, then you need to know which puzzle pieces will go where, and then it will fulfill your desire. It will grow your businesses. So you are the person working on Whitelink, supporting local businesses, driving the growth for the local economy. So that's really fascinating. And I just wanted to ask one question from the audience. So we have Murad Jaman and Abdullah Al Mahdi joined. So I will, Mahdi said, just give me a second. I just show that one. As usual, I'm not getting any messages on my LinkedIn Live, although I have this is the problem of restream. So last week when we did, I did not have any messages shown on my panel, and this week is the same thing. So there's not a good customer satisfaction. Anyway, I just read it through. So Abdullah Al Mahdi said, I am really enjoying watching the live session. Could you please elaborate on the role of social media and online platforms playing in community engagement? So
yeah, I was going to say, for us, it's everyone's on social media. Mm-hmm. So as you and I were having a conversation before this went live, is actually, and you've got some fantastic stats, I'll let you share those, but the world is turning to social media now. People are more looking down than they're looking up. So to get across on social media, to get your message out. And this is the thing with the video I mentioned that just went absolutely viral, that was the mock of the Mercedes. No one expected that to happen. It was just, they had an idea. They said, let's do this. It'll be fun. It adds a bit of humor to the brand, and it absolutely exploded. And literally, I was going to networking events. I was at a business expo in Portsmouth, and someone came up to me and congratulated me on the video, and I hadn't even seen it then. So people were already talking about it, and I was like, I better check our TikTok feed so I know what they're talking about. So it's crazy how it just gets people talking and recognizing what you do. I was at a networking event 2 weeks ago, just before the Isle of Wight Festival, and before I'd finished my elevator pitch, someone said, please say that to your marketing team that they're absolutely fantastic, because I love the videos that come across on social media. So you're touching those people in all over the local community, And it's also with social media, people get to watch it in their own time. So they get to see it when they're ready to see it. If you're at a networking event, if you're at a business expo, people need to be there at that moment in time. But with social media, it's 24/7.
I totally agree with you, Travis. Because as a marketing company and work as a marketer and working in the marketing industry, as well as all other aspects that we can contribute to, social media is changing. The lifestyle, social media is changing rapidly. So there was a article published, a research was done that mostly nowadays people spend more than 6 hours every day within social media. So you can imagine that half of our day spent on social media. So it is contributing greatly, as well as creating individuals problems for the people. So we're not going to talk about the problems. We are only going to talk about the good thing that it is doing. As a marketing company, we utilize social media greatly, like social selling, as well as all the work we do, SEOs, and a lot of individual things. It's transforming people's lives, and we can contribute more and express more, as well as ever more. 10 years back, or when I was working with neurodiversity, as well as disability, there wasn't that much awareness. Now you see people, they know what is autism, they know what is dyslexia, they know what is different type of disabilities, they know all of those things. That's only possible through social media, because there are a lot of people working together to express their feelings, to let people know what they are capable of and they are not. And as we're talking about business are more versatile nowadays to attract more customers. So the boundaries, local boundaries, is extending to national, to global. And I think that you also get lots of global audiences within Whitelink to facilitate them through your services. So my another question, because we're talking about local businesses and other things, I think Isle of Wight will also have a historical footprint at the United Kingdom. Can you tell a bit more about the historical footprints of Isle of Wight as a whole?
So probably the most famous bit of history about the Isle of Wight is the fact that Queen Victoria was the person that made it popular as a holiday destination. She moved, well, she holidayed on the Isle of Wight quite frequently and built Osborne House, which you can go and visit now. It's a national heritage site. It was given back to the people by the royal family, so you can go and see that. It's absolutely stunning. You can go in the house. The gardens are fantastic. So that was kind of the first thing that put the Isle of Wight on the map, because Queen Victoria liked it, and it was very fashionable in the time to copy what the royals did. We still kind of do it a little bit now. And then that spawned Ride Pier, because the Victorians didn't like having to get off a boat and lift up their skirts and walk through knee-deep water to get to the beach. So Ride Pier appeared, and then it became a real holiday destination and somewhere that everybody wanted to be. So you've kind of got that side of things. It's also documented that Charles Darwin started writing The Origin of the Species by Natural Selection while he was staying at the Isle of Wight. There's been some real famous visitors. There's been American presidents that have come to the Isle of Wight as well, and there's a few stories around that. There's been some famous people locked up on the Isle of Wight as well. So you've had, I believe, King Charles was incarcerated on the Isle of Wight for a little while when there was the Civil War going on. So there's a lot of history around the island. It's been there forever. And if you go right back, it's actually a great place to go fossil hunting if you want to look for fossils on dinosaurs and stuff like that. So there's a lot about it. I mean, more away from the industry side. But since then, there's been a huge agricultural output from the Isle of Wight, which is still going to this day. So an interesting statistic is, if any of the viewers enjoy eating tomatoes and you buy tomatoes in the UK, 30% of the entire UK's supply of tomatoes originates from the Isle of Wight.
That's really fascinating. I think you missed one point, the phone one, because when
Oh
I've been
yes,
when I've
smartphone,
been
of
to,
course.
yes, when I've been to the events that we did together on the ferry, that question, I was guessing like, okay, what would be the thing there, the phone bit? Can you tell the audience about the phone?
So the phone bit was, I'm going to have to refresh my memory, I'm afraid, if you can just bear with
So
me.
this is the oldest phone booth over there.
Yes, it is. You're right. It is the oldest telephone box in the UK. Is situated on the Isle of Wight, and it's still there to this day, actually. And I can't
Yeah,
remember the date it went in. I'm sorry. That was part of the quiz that I did as the Portsmouth
yeah.
City Council networking. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things happening in Isle of Wight. It's not like that we are talking about businesses today, although, but there are historical things that you should consider when you visit Isle of Wight. The dinosaur bits, I went there with my son, and he was like moving around everywhere and checking the dinosaurs and a lot of different things, and the historical view, as well as the natural beauty is different, because you can't
It's
imagine.
is an absolutely stunning place to go. It's also worth mentioning as well that it also has a fully active heritage railway. So there are steam locomotives that run on a specific part of track. It's a 3 or 4 mile bit of track as well. So that's in operation through the summer. They have fantastic events at the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. But yeah, it is an active heritage railway that's won awards. But you're right, the natural beauty, it is an area of outstanding natural beauty, the Isle of Wight. And on a day when it's sunny and the recent weather we've just had, if you were visiting the Isle of Wight, you could literally be anywhere in the world.
I think the memories, it's implemented in different places. I can remember that the railway you told, just you informed the audiences. I had a trip with the railway experience, and I was in the UK, you cannot, it's not possible to put your heads up, outside of the train, but the natural one, and I was like enjoying it indifferently, because I can put my hands out and my head out and see what is happening. It's different things. Another thing I would mention here, I'm a fan of Princess Diana, and when I went to the freshwater falls, and I just saw I think they have I think they done the made the individual jewelries for the royal families and others.
Yes.
So you can see the displays and you can relate. You think, okay, these are the things that you will never experience to go to a royal family and see those things. Okay, it's been produced from there. So that's another thing. And there are lots of good memories, lot of good things that you can experience when you go to Isle of Wight, and as well as the businesses. So we will not go to in details of the other things. We just wanted to return to talk about businesses. So to the audience, if you wanted to ask us any question, please feel free to access through the comment box, and we will try to answer your questions. And we cannot display the question today as our UI is not working properly. We will solve that problem for the next live webinar. And we have Travis Cooper from the White Link, and we are talking about contributing to the local economy, and talking about Isle of Wight and the mainlands and their services. So in relation to my next question, so we have spoken a lot of the individual things so far. We wanted to talk about customer service and successes to the next segment. So you know that you work with customer, and you have lots of tons of, I think, compliments from your customers in relation with what step do you take to ensure a positive customer experiences?
I think it's multifaceted, if I'm honest. So it starts with the customer journey. So the first touch point you would have with White Links, you can book your ticket on the phone, you can go on the app, you can use the website. So that's the first step. The other thing as well is because of what we do, we operate a connective service, a transport service from the mainland to the Isle of Wight. one of the huge things we look at is reliability and punctuality. And I think our punctuality and reliability are close to 98, 99% at the moment, which is fantastic. Because at the end of the day, if you're looking to go away somewhere and you want to get away, you want to leave when your ticket says you're going to leave, and you want to arrive when the time says you're going to arrive. So that's another step. And then on top of that, we layer on top everything else. So you've got our retail offering, which again is stocked with a lot of local produce. We have the first hybrid electric ferry to operate on inshore waters, which is an absolutely stunning craft. That was the one we did the networking event on. So we try and make sure that every touch point is an enjoyable one for the customer, really. The staff are trained to a very high standard, all very friendly, all very efficient. So that's kind of what we do, just to make sure that it is as good an experience as possible. We cater for people with pets, we cater for people with children. And then if you look on the business side of things, that's probably where the reliability and punctuality comes in more, because if you're running your own business and you're trying to connect with the mainland and the Isle of Wight, then you need to make sure that the service you offer your customers isn't impeded by the service we're offering you. So we make sure we nail that as best we can to make sure that we get you there on time, so you're not letting your customer down, because at the end of the day, that's absolutely crucial.
I totally agree with you, Travis. There isn't anything that you can do more to satisfy your customer, because they are the future success, isn't it? Because they will let people know, as I am satisfied with the services I received, and I all the time I just tell people, okay, experience these things. It is one in a lifetime opportunity to go to Isle of Wight with the ferry, and with the experience you will receive. It's different. It will stick with you. The good memories is your driver's force, isn't it? So good memories is a good thing. So I just wanted to ask you another related question, because you know that yes, you have positive feedbacks, and you might have something complaints or good feedback. How do you cater these things and handle these things? Like, okay, someone maybe they're not happy, because you cannot fulfill 99% or 100% population. There are going to be some people, they will maybe do something, okay, they are not happy. So how do you handle complaints and feedback to improve your service?
We'll always deal with everything on a one-to-one basis. We'll always address and talk to that customer that's raised an issue, find out where the issue came from, and see what we can do to improve on anything that they've raised. It's not always possible necessarily, but I think it's opening that dialogue and speaking to that customer and making sure that they feel satisfied with the result at the end of it. From my side of the business, because I deal with a lot of business customers, a lot of freight customers, we thankfully don't get a lot of complaints, but if we do, we can work with them very much on a one-to-one basis and just make sure that we get it resolved as quickly as possible, because after all, they're frequent travelers as well. So they're backwards and forwards, sometimes on a daily basis, sometimes a couple of times a day. So that's how we do it. I mean, I think we are doing the right thing, because last year for 2023, we were voted the best ferry operator for UK ports and destinations, and we won that award. We won the gold, so we came first, and that was voted for by customers that use these services. So there was a voting panel opened up, and it was the public that voted, and we won that. So we feel that we're coming on leaps and bounds, and we're really doing the right thing, and obviously customers are pleased with what we're doing.
That's great. Travis, we just have another questions. I will ask you in a minute. So I just wanted to ask to the audience, if you wanted to ask us any question, feel free to access through the comment box. And I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from GenZ Marketing, and we have Travis Cooper from the White Link, and we are talking today how you can grow local economy. So we are talking more into businesses, and we have the next questions from Murad Jaman. Thank you, Murad, for asking this question. So how do you train your staff to provide exceptional customer services?
So we do that through several routes, really. We have online learning platforms, we have training courses, we have refresher courses. We also have champions throughout the business that are obviously We have a tiered system. So in our retail outlets, we have senior retail staff and retail staff, and the seniors take on a leadership role to ensure that the service that is being provided to the customer is of the highest possible standards. From the shipping side, you have masters, chief officers, and ratings, and obviously the master is the top boss on the vessel at any time, and they ensure that their staff also give the best possible customer service as well as themselves as well. The captain is often seen to be going through the ship on at times and speaking to customers, especially if there may be some form of disruption. So it's refresher training, I think, is the most important thing. If you take someone on, what you've got to remember is we're a company that, like I've said, one of the old jokes is I've stayed here for 24 years. So in that time, you just need to keep making sure that there's that refresher training that's offered. And obviously things change as well. Technology changes, there are innovation changes. So it's making sure that the staff are on board with those ideas and understand why changes are being brought in and how it's positive for the customer journey. So it's just topping up on that training, I think, is the key point, is make sure that you just keep refreshing.
I totally agree with you, Travis. And thank you very much for your contribution today to our audiences. And thank you to all the audiences that you're enjoying this live webinar. Please support our work. And if you wanted to ask Travis any specific questions related to Isle of Wight or supporting local businesses, feel free to contact him directly. And you can contact him through social media as well as LinkedIn. So we just are nearly end of our session. We just have less than 15 minutes to talk about more on contributing and developing local economy. So on the next questions, I wanted to ask you about community engagement, because I know that you are engaging hugely to the community, and we can only improve local businesses through community engagement and working for them and working with them. So what are the benefits of engaging the local community for businesses, and and the related question, another question I just wanted to ask you, that how do you how do you influence local businesses to be more community focused?
I think that's more organic, to be honest, the second part of the question, because if you are shown to be doing it yourself, then others tend to follow suit. I think there was a very much a trend shift during the pandemic when everyone was in lockdown. I mean, we carried on operating. We were considered key workers because we were a lifeline service to the Isle of Wight. But there was a lot of talk then when people were getting shut down, people had to close their doors, that there was a real sense of community that came out of that. And that sense of community, I'm glad to say, has kind of carried on post-pandemic. So people realize that actually it's a great thing to support local business and buy locally, because the power of community is huge. And if you yourself are seen to be engaged in the community, supporting local businesses, it builds a level of trust, and people tend to look towards your brand more favorably. So you're not doing it for kudos, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. But by doing that, it builds that trust, and people know who you are, and they don't. Big businesses have a risk of just being labeled as like they're not necessarily us. We're an SME in the community, but you look at other big brand names and they're kind of just, they're just this huge brand and you don't know much about them. So to see that there are businesses trading with other businesses doing local business, I think it's huge, because it builds a network, and it just means that people trust your brand a whole lot more.
I totally understand that. So in relation to my next question, so I just wanted to ask you, that how can businesses create meaningful community engagement and initiatives like you are doing? Because you need to collaborate with people, and they have to have a right mindset, because when businesses or community, they don't have right mindsets to contribute greatly, you cannot work with them. So how do you create meaningful community engagements to initiate the growth?
I think that's through introduction, through the power of introduction, for businesses that might not be as connected across industries. Then it is things like business expos, networking events, because anybody that attends those does have that mindset and is looking to engage with local businesses and do business locally. You can't necessarily change the mind of everyone. As
Mhm.
we've said, that's the same as customers. You have good feedback, you have bad feedback on occasion. So I think it's more finding the right space for your business to be, so you're surrounded by a lot of other like-minded businesses, because you'll get a lot more traction through people that are already prepared to be engaged than trying to change the mind of that one business that doesn't want to be engaged, if that makes sense.
I totally understand. So we have the next question from Asama. The related questions that how can local businesses leverage these drivers to achieve sustainable growth? And we haven't touched sustainable development and growth, because I think on our last program you mentioned specifically that how you are driving the growth of sustainability in relation with net zero and others. Can you a little bit elaborate on the work that you are doing and how local businesses can leverage these things with their culture and grow sustainability in the community?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we do. And if you look at it in isolation, it might seem fairly small. And this is a thing that businesses, I think, have to look at and realize that step one isn't going to be a massive step. So your step one isn't going to get you carbon zero, but
Mhm.
it's taken those tiny little steps, and each step forwards is a step closer to building a level of sustainability. So we no longer have any plastic cutlery or plates on board. We use solar power at our shore-based office in Gunwharf. We recycle 99% of our waste is now recycled or not sent to landfill, which is huge. We look at fully recyclable cups in our retail outlet. We're investing in oyster farms in the oceans. We're looking at seaweed farms as well that offset carbon in the local waters where we are. And we've got a hybrid electric ferry, and there's lots of other things as well that we're doing or we're in talks to do. We have a salary sacrifice scheme for employees to get an electric car or a hybrid electric car, which is then improving their journeys to work and reducing their carbon footprint. So it's interesting, really. To drive sustainability, you've just got to take the first step, because
Actually,
step one is might be small. Putting LED lights into your premises, or timer lights, so they're sensor lights, so they only turn on when someone's in the room and they turn off. Seems like a really small thing to do, but you just start adding it on top of everything else, and before you know it, you're having a huge impact.
I totally agree with you, because when you talk about sustainability, it's not the one company they could make the world sustainable. We have to work individually and from our own spaces. Like, okay, I want to be part of the sustainable growth of the economy, or a sustainable growth of your specific domain. Without that, it's not possible to grow. So thank you everyone for asking different type of questions today. And I hope that you are enjoying the webinar. We are just nearly end of our session. So at this session, we're just going to be winding up. And I just wanted to ask one questions to Jervis, that if someone wanted to experience Isle of Wight, I know that you're driving local economy and you are driving local growth and local people. What are the things you do to attract national and international audience?
That's a good question. So for the international audience, it's more based around travel and tourism. We invest, as do other island companies, into the Visit Isle of Wight group, which is done by a levy system, the DBID, and they go out and they promote the Isle of Wight on our behalf and on other tourist businesses' behalf. So they attend trade shows, travel shows overseas to raise awareness. it's also, we touched on the historical side of the island. That kind of sells itself. We do get a lot of overseas tourists from America, from Germany, from mainland Europe. Holland is another huge destination that people come from just because they want to experience the history that's on the Isle of Wight. So that's a huge driver in itself. It does sell itself a little bit, which is fantastic.
Thank you very much, Travis. And I just wanted to ask you the last one, the takeaways. So if you wanted to let our audiences know specific takeaways from this webinar, that they will be meaningful and they will benefit from this.
I would say the biggest takeaway is, as me and you have said, we met at a networking event. Networking is critical, especially in the local community. But if you're going to go to a networking event, go to a couple and go to it regularly. Don't just necessarily go to every networking group you can find, because the whole point of networking is building relationships. And when you start building relationships, you then build business relationships, and that benefits both you and the other people that you're doing business with. So I would say, and as I said on the last webinar, is just scratch below the surface a little bit. If you see the amount of produce that we've got in our stores, which most of it comes from the local and surrounding area, over 70%, then it's surprising what's actually on your doorstep. And it's really surprising that people that you can do business with. So you might have a large company supplying your telecom system. You might actually find that there's someone local that can do the same thing, and they might actually save you money. And then you're helping grow that local business. So just find out what's around you. Take a look, take time out, go to networking events and find out what people do. And then people can find out about you as well, which I think is huge.
It's totally agree with you, Travis. And thank you for supporting today's live webinar. And I think we can have more webinar in the future to support local businesses, as well as let the national and international aspects that, okay, we can contribute, and the contribution we will create local jobs, and as well as a lot of individual things. It's not only local jobs or improving the local economy. It's a lot more that specifically a business can contribute. A business like you, a business like me, and others, whoever working in the Southeast, as well as in the other parts of the United Kingdom. So we all want you to contribute from your own space, and as well as contribute greatly, because the community you will create today, they will drive force for next generation. So we need to create a diverse force, and we need to create the economy in the next level, that we don't think about a lot of individual things that we cannot cater. We can think about, okay, we can cater for things, and we can grow the economy, and we are fulfilled. I think we are the 6th largest economy in the world, so we can make it better, and we can contribute more. So Travis, I just wanted to ask you the last remarks for our audience from yourself.
For me, it's just been an absolute pleasure for you to have me. Hopefully there's been some information there that's shared that some people have found useful. And as you said, if anyone wants to reach out, they can find me on LinkedIn. Happy to accept an invite. And if there's any more questions, then happy to answer them.
Thank you, Travis. And to our audience, thank you very much. Please stay on the line. I will just say bye-bye to the audience, and then I will say you bye-bye. Thank you very much, and I hope you have enjoyed today's live webinar. And thank you very much to the audiences and all the guests that you have asked questions. And next week I will bring another guest and talk about different things. As you know, GenZ Marketing and Time Research and Innovation is a parent company, and we work together to support businesses with innovation, technology, and technology-enhanced decision making. So if you're thinking about technology, and if you're thinking about technology-enhanced decision-making, as well as implement technology for your business growth and marketing, feel free to contact us, and we will grow together, and we will introduce you to the relevant people that you can do business with. So thank you very much for all of you joining to this live webinar. Until, please support our channel, and thank you, and see you next week. And until then, Bye-bye, and please support our channels.